Welcome, everybody. Fred Glick here with Bill DeWeese once again. But, Bill, we must admit we have missed a week, and that was because you were on vacation.
I took a vacation. A vacation for me is a long weekend. I went to the Smoky Mountains alone to a cabin way up on a very steep mountain, and just sat in a rocking chair on the front porch and enjoyed a couple days R&R.
Yeah, let's really. I think it's kind of interesting how you went to the Smoky Mountains, given what you were doing.
All smoking cigars.
Right.
Yes, it was very relaxing. Smoking cigars, sitting out on the rocking chair, living the life.
Now, have you investigated, for those of you who are listening or watching, this is a semi-serious question. Smoking cigars, any impact on your voice for the voiceover business?
Yeah, I mean, could it potentially? I suppose so. I know that I remember when I was a young kid in broadcasting, guys saying, well, if you want to sound cool, you should smoke cigarettes and it'll kind of rough up your throat. So I think the worst that it could do in terms of vocal quality might be to give it a little more of a weathered sound, which in my case wouldn't be bad at all because I sound like a little kid.
Might improve it, huh?
Might improve it, yeah.
Okay, well,
and I have done investigate from the health side, outside of voice. I've looked into all that, so I'm well aware of.
Well, then, so folks, if you're a VO artist and want to smoke cigars, you have our blessing. Now
hey, I'm not. My wife is not happy with me. I'm not pushing this agenda, just for the record.
Exactly. And it's not coming from neither of us are doctors, nor do we play them on TV.
No, we don't.
So tell me then. Let's back up. Just give us what you've done over the past whatever.
Well, last week I took Friday off, but I made $4,750 for the week, so it was a very good week. And I was busy. I won't go through everything because I know we got to go through this week's stuff. But I did some work for Disney. I did some work there's a big European rental car company called Sixt, S-I-X-T. I think they specialize in BMW rentals. Okay. And I did a big training thing for them. I picked up a new client to do work for Motorola, and I got that through voice123.com. And let's see, I did a couple direct response spots and.
I have a question for you on the Sixt thing. Had you been like a union talent on the Chevrolet Find New Roads, would that have prevented you from doing work with Sixt, given that I'm just trying to, I'm wondering if that's a problem.
If I had been under contract, and interestingly enough, Chevrolet never asked me to sign a non-compete, so I was not under any, being non-union, I was under no rules.
Wow, so you could have done Ford Find New Other Roads.
Yeah, absolutely. Driven. Yeah. I could have done that. However, had that happened, if BMW had come to me to do a broadcast spot, and while I was under contract to Chevrolet, I would have certainly approached Chevrolet. I would never have jeopardized it.
Yeah. So just because they didn't make you sign that, you would have looked really bad had you not gone.
I would be. Yeah, I wouldn't have done it without their blessing for sure.
Now, here's something. Why don't we go through a couple items, and then I have a few things to ask you about.
You mean I just tell you about this week?
Yeah.
It's okay. This week and I'm still working. Still, Mallory just reminded me I still have a lot of work to do, but it's $6,500 for this week, so a good week. And I only worked, I took off Monday. I traveled Monday to come home from the Smokies. So that's good. So Tuesday, I'll just hit this quickly. PricewaterhouseCoopers. I did some car repair type narration. I did a direct response ad for something called the Cool Pool Chair. So be watching for that. Yeah. I did some internal Ford training at a corporate level for the Ford CRM system. I did a psychographic persuasion explainer video. I did a regional car dealership commercial. I did some work for IKEA, worked for Southwest Gas, and I picked up a new client, Keel Point Investments, found me through Voice123. And so that was, a lot of that was makeup work. People who contacted me over the weekend needed stuff. So I did 2 days worth of work, basically. Wednesday, Superior Auto, which is a car dealership, worked for Mettler Toledo training. I did a corporate piece for Nespresso, the coffee maker.
Oh, and I'm a client.
Yeah, what's that?
I'm a client.
Oh, you okay? Well, very good.
I have their Nespresso machine, and I buy their pods.
Yeah, well, I did some work for them, which was cool. And then I did a consent for pharmaceutical trials training narration. Thursday, did a political ad for a state senatorial, I don't even know where it was at. I did a thing for the Dan Wolf Automotive Group. It was training, medical coding training, California driver safety training. I did some...
I must interject.
Yeah.
I did take and pass my California driver's test, so I'm going to be issued an official California license.
Oh, very good. Congratulations.
Well, thank you very much.
Yes, very nice. So does that mean you give up your Nevada license?
I am giving up my Nevada license and my Nevada residency, given the fact that I've turned the place in Nevada into a rental on the advice of various councils.
Yeah. Who shall remain nameless.
Yes.
Did something for Oracle and did more for Mettler Toledo. And then today I did a economic development promo piece for Wuxi, China. And then Wuxi, which is spelled W-U-X-I. It looks like Wuxi, but it's Wuxi.
Wuxi, yeah.
I did a thing for Partner Connect. They were doing a channel partner trade show, and I'm like the voice of their presentation. I did imaging for a classic hit radio station, and I've been working this afternoon and have more to go on some car repair videos.
Yeah, one of the things that came up on the member site, and by the way, folks, if you want to join, go to DeWeeseMembers.com. Bill, you can put that up on the screen as we say this. One of the things that I asked and actually said to the group in there, maybe incorrectly, because I'm only in this business kind of tangentially, but somebody was talking about the need for a great mic and a whisper room and all that stuff, and basically I chimed in and I said, hey, look, you know what? If I remember correctly, Bill was literally working out of his closet till the point he made $100,000 or so.
Oh yeah.
And you were working with some very basic equipment as well. Yeah. So my point to people was, make the money before you start spending it.
Yes, I agree. And you can get a good sound. Well, I'll tell you, here's a little secret. I don't tell this to everybody, but
now
it's just me and you and those listening to the podcast.
Yeah.
Now, if you go to BillDeWeese.com, my website, a lot of the material that you hear on there was recorded with what's now a $50 Marshall MXL microphone. Was recorded in my closet. And it was but it was a really well treated space. I did everything right, but I did it with cheap equipment, and and when I was able to, I upgraded.
Yeah.
But if you listen to it, you'd be hard pressed to know the difference.
Yeah.
If you have a good space to work in.
And so the moral of this story is, come on, folks, this is a business as well, and you don't want to start investing a lot of money in your business until you start making some.
Yeah, you want to invest what you need to invest, but be very judicious with that. Fred and I would agree with that. Be very careful with that.
Yeah, and that's real good. So now, in addition to the vacation issue and being able to take a little time to yourself, which is always a good idea, were there any other aha moments other than all of the audio, the self-help audios that I gave you to listen to on?
I did fire a client in the middle of a recording session last week. You want to hear about that?
My God,
and it sounds more dramatic than it was.
Oh, yeah, please. Let's hear that.
But, there was a job that I got through voices.com that I typically wouldn't take, but it was a private audition. They came to me, and they had this short little script, and they had $100. And I thought, no, and then I thought, how hard could it be, right? It's a little short script, $100, it's a quick in and out, 5 minutes, I'm $100 richer, right? I mean, nothing wrong with that, right? Yeah. So I thought, okay, against my better judgment, I went ahead and I accepted the job. And so it turned into this thing where, okay, give us 2 or 3 reads. Okay, which frankly for $100 doesn't excite me, but I did it.
Okay.
And there's no, we're really looking for this. So I go back and give them 2 or 3 more reads. Really what we're looking, and this is a TV ad, by the way. I mean, my normal rate for a local TV ad like that would be $900.
Yeah.
So the level of service that would go along with the $100 is, So eventually I get a message that, okay, we need to direct you over the telephone.
Yeah.
And I should have at that point said, just forget it, find somebody else. But I try to be as accommodating as I can. So I said, okay, we'll just get this done and they'll never bother me again. I can never accept a job from them. Right. So we get on the telephone and they're leading me through the script. And I do it. Okay, no, we're really, on this word, you really do it like this, and this word, do it like that. And so I do it again and again and again, and she could not be satisfied. I find, and we were getting ready to do it again. I said, you know what? Hold on. I said,
you finally, even
me.
It was my personality. This person would have been fired at 3 iterations ago.
Yeah, no doubt, and should have been.
Yeah.
And I said, I am clearly not the person for this job because I couldn't figure out what the heck they wanted.
Yeah.
And by the way, let that be a lesson for those of you who are so afraid that your client's not going to like you. Hey, it happens. It's funny because I did a national commercial for the PGA Tour last week too. Took all of 5 minutes.
Right.
And this person for $100 was driving me up a wall. And so I said, and frankly, I said, for $100 spot, we just can't do this back and forth anymore. And I think she was taken a little aback, but I was not, I was nice about it.
Right.
I said, I think you need to find somebody else. And so we agreed that they would go ahead. Yeah, okay, we'll do that. And I didn't expect to hear any more about it. Voices.com actually got me paid for that. They paid me. I didn't expect to be paid because I'm the one who quit.
Yeah.
But to their credit, they got that money. They paid me.
Did you have to tell the whole story to Voices?
No, I explained it. Very briefly. I just said, I've already given them like 10 reads and they wanted like 10 more. And I said I couldn't give them, they were never happy with what I did. So I just said, I told them it'd be best if they found somebody else.
Great. Now, and again, I've had this happen, and I think that this is something that happens in every business, which is oftentimes the clients who pay you the least are the biggest pains in the butt.
Oh my gosh. The biggest jobs I've ever had were the easiest. Because they knew what they wanted. They told you what they hired me because I was what they wanted.
Well, what we talked about earlier, I think off podcast or off mic, was about Chevrolet Find New Roads, in which they took one of your auditions.
Yeah, and paid like a multiple 5-figure payment, and it was like took me 10 minutes, and it was all audition. So yeah, it's weird. It's weird how that works, but there's a truth to it.
I like the idea, and what I always used to say, and again, you say it in different words, but we all say it somehow, which is, when somebody it isn't working well with me, I just say, I don't think I'm qualified to do this, and I try not to say it in a sniveling tone of voice, which I really feel like, but it's basically like, hey, I'm not your guy, find somebody else.
Yeah. And it makes sense to do that. And it's a matter of your own boundaries, and I'll be honest, I'm not great at that. I'm learning. But It's like, at some point, you got to say, this is not worth the time and the effort. You are costing me way more.
Yeah, well, I think what happens is that you are basically a really nice guy. And I am kind of a little bit rougher around the edges, right?
You're a New York guy.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time in New York. So, as a result, my tolerance level is way lower than yours. And I think that that's good and it's bad. I think that clearly it's really helpful when dealing with the people who are part of our groups,
right.
that get involved, and they know who you are. But the thing about it is you got to be you, and I got to be me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And so I think that's, the lesson to people is, hey, but there are times when you need to tell someone. Then we got into another discussion in another group that I'm in, having nothing to do with voiceover, that goes back to this whole idea of compensation. And I had to have that argument again. Whatever. So that's, there's all kinds of things. So anything else before we close it up for this week?
I think that's the big takeaway for this week. And just, happy Easter to everyone. Well, of course, by the time you see this, your Easter will be over. But or whatever you may be celebrating this weekend.
Got it. Sounds good. Well, then, thank you, folks, and we'll talk to you next time.
Thanks, Fred.